You know what separates published writers from unpublished ones? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's habits. I'm TJ Stecker, former Navy aviator, DC attorney, and agented crime fiction author. Welcome to Fireside Writer. Today we're talking about James Clear's Atomic Habits and how to apply them to your own writing career. Because if you want to get published, you need systems, not goals. Here's the thing about goals. They're BS. Not completely, but mostly. Everyone wants to write a novel, or get published, or get an agent. Those are goals. Goals are fine for setting directions, but goals don't get you there. Systems do. James Clear nails this in Atomic Habits. He says winners and losers have the same goals. Every writer wants to publish a novel, but only some of them actually do it. Why? Because only some of them build the systems to make it happen. I've written 2 complete novels, Redacted and The Moth. They're both set in the mountains of North Carolina and the halls of DC. They're both drawing from my time as a naval flight officer and as an attorney. And I didn't write them by obsessing over my goal of getting published. I wrote them by showing up every day and putting words on the page. That's the system, that's the habit. So let's break down how to build writing habits that actually work. The first principle from Atomic Habits is make it obvious. If you want to write consistently, you need to design your writing environment to make it the easiest thing to do. Clear talks about implementation intentions. Basically, I will do this thing at this time at this location. For writers, that might look something like, I will write 500 words at 5 a.m. at my kitchen table. Here's what I do. I keep my laptop open at my table, my manuscript already pulled up. When I sit down with my coffee first thing in the morning, the first thing I see is the page. No friction, no decision fatigue, I just write. Compare that to your laptop's buried in a bag. You're sitting on a couch, you're scrolling Twitter. What environment do you think produces more words? Make it obvious, stack the deck in your favor. And here's a trick I learned from my days in the military, visual cues. I have a handwritten sign on my desk that says, write or die. Dramatic? Yes, but it works. Every time I see it, it reminds me why I'm there. The second principle is make it attractive. That one's counterintuitive for writers because face it, writing is hard. It's not always fun and sometimes it's a grind. But Clear's advice is to pair something you need to do with something you want to do. He calls it temptation building. For me, it means pairing writing sessions with things I enjoy. I make good coffee. I put on instrumental music. Something atmospheric, no lyrics. I light a candle that smells like cedar. I'm building an environment where writing feels like a ritual, not a chore. And here's the kicker. Sometimes I record myself writing and put it on YouTube. Those Write With Me videos, they're not just for you. They're for me. Because when I know someone's watching, I'm more likely to show up and do the work. That's accountability. That's making the habit attractive because I'm not just writing for myself, I'm building community while I do it. You can also join writing groups, find accountability partners, or post your daily word count on social media. Whatever makes you want to show up. Third principle, make it easy. Clear talks about the 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. For writers, that might mean just write 1 sentence, because starting is the hardest part. Once you write 1 sentence, you'll write another, and another, and suddenly you have 500 words on the page. But if you set a bar to write 2,000 words, you're going to procrastinate. You're going to find excuses, you're going to find distractions. You're going to check Instagram and tell yourself, I'll get to it later. Lower the stakes, make it easy to start. I also use what Clear calls environmental design. I reduce friction by having everything ready. My outline is open, my research documents are bookmarked, my coffee is made. When I sit down, there's nothing between me and the page. And another trick, embrace the shitty first draft. Don't edit as you write. Just get the words down. You can fix them later. Perfectionism is the enemy of progress. Fourth principle, make it satisfying. Clear says that we will repeat behaviors that feel rewarding. So you need to build immediate rewards for writing. For me, that's tracking my progress. I keep a document open where I log what I accomplished each session. Not just wording, though that matters, but also what did I figure out today? What scene did I crack? What character decision did I nail? That sense of progress is the reward, and that's what keeps me coming back. You can also use a habit tracker. Put a big X on a calendar on every day you write. Don't break the chain. That visual reminder of consistency is powerful. And here's something I learned from the Navy. Celebrate small wins. Finish a chapter, pour yourself a bourbon. Finish a draft, take a whole day off. When you get an agent, that's a weekend worth celebrating. But you've got to make this habit satisfying or else you'll quit. Here's the big idea from Atomic Habits. If you get 1% better every day, you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. That's the compound effect. But writing 500 words a day is 182,500 words a year. That's 2 novels, and then some. The problem is most writers think they need to write 2,000 words a day or they're failing. They burn out, they quit. But if you show up consistently, even if it's for only 300 words, you'll finish the book, you'll finish the second book, you'll get better with every page. I've seen this in my own work. My first drafts are still rough. They always will be. But my first draft of something today is 10 times better than my 10th draft of something I wrote last year. Because I've put in the work. I've built the habits. And that's how you get published. Not by waiting for inspiration, not by dreaming about it, but by showing up day after day and putting in the work. And so how does this show up in my own writing? Well, for Redacted, I did just that. I wrote 500 words a day every morning at 5 a.m. Some days I wrote less, but I showed up every day with the intention to get my words in. For The Moth, I applied the same system, though I wrote it much quicker. The important thing was I showed up, I wrote when I could, and I recorded the progress. Both novels are complete, both are on submission, and I'm working on the next one using the exact same habits. Because here's the truth, talent matters, but habits matter more. You can be the most talented writer in the world, but if you don't have the habits to show up every day and write and finish the book, no one will ever read it. Build the habits, trust the process, and the results will come. So there you have it, Atomic Habits for Writers. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, and make it satisfying. Remember, small changes compound. You don't need to write for 8 hours a day, you just need to show up consistently. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe to Fireside Writer. Drop a comment and let me know, what's the one habit you're going to start this week? Now remember, we have new videos every week from Fireside Writer. I'll see you next time. Now go build those habits.